dbdr. Thank you so much for telling everyone your stories, being honest about your experiences, and just putting that out there and having that leap of faith, taking that leap of faith in your life. That's hard to do, and you did it. And I think it was really important, not only for yourself, but your purpose in the world, and almost like a God-given purpose. It was part of your destiny to be doing what you're doing with your stories and just carrying out your experiences as evidence. And I think it's time today we talk about truth. Not everyone's going to be cut from the same cloth. It's a brutal fact. And I think the community's essentially divided it into three different spheres, right? So you have the one that dbdr. He mainly delves in this one. We're gonna start with this one, right? This is the dark pill. And there's of course nothing wrong with this one, right? You know, the dark pill. You know, the positives of this is it's a hypercriticalness that leads to an almost exact correctness in every situation, right? So if you're in a social situation, right, and you're using the dark pill, you have a hyper awareness of your current situation, and then you apply that and you act accordingly. So, you know, I was very once much in dbdr's place that dbdr's in, and I understand just being like placing yourself at the low point of the hierarchy that dbdr is doing. Like I've entirely been there. So I'm a few years older than dbdr, and worked on my life immensely hard, and put on, what particularly it is I'm a couple inches taller, and I put on a lot of muscle mass, and it's just insane the treatment I've gotten from people just in everyday life, like then to now. And I think when I bring up to people, it's like, you don't understand the superficiality of being like an outcast for, you know, I'm just going to say like 22 years, which is, you know, how old dbdr is. But I mean, that's the truth. Because I didn't really ascend until 22. So I had a proper ascension at 22. And, but it's like, I mean, that's just such a long time to go, you know, without the human experience of love, intimacy, and true belongingness. Also, it's not, the other thing is about being like that personal feeling of knowing that you're lower on status in the hierarchy is just, it's not only just like the inability to get love or intimacy, it's also like just inability to feel like you have control of your social groups. And when we bring up Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right, just social belonging and love and intimacy, I don't know which one is, you know, more important than the other one, but I do know they're both pretty effing low at the bottom. They're pretty important. So if it's low at the bottom, it's like the most important stuff that you're going to need in your life. And like that belongingness from social friends and that belongingness from like love and intimacy, they're both like right there. And I frankly just don't understand what it is about our society where people just get incredibly outcasted for like the better part of their lives. And actually at this point in the video, I want to play a clip from ChrisWilliamson. He had a Q&A, and a really good question was asked. And I think it really is poignant to what I'm trying to say here. So I'm going to put that here. But just all credits to Chris Williamson. Of course, I'm going to have his YouTube linked in the clip.
Lil Broomstick, how much of the current toxic elements of the pilosphere, manosphere, do you believe are attributable to young men being left out of dating and sexual relationships early as teenage and young men, i.e. 13 to 25, before men enter prime earning years? I don't quite understand men being left out of dating and sexual relationships. Okay, so is the fact that younger guys aged 13 to 25 are having less dating and sexual encounters contributing to the proliferation of red pill, black pill, etc., and the manosphere stuff? Yeah, perhaps. I think, a good part of what's going on with MGTOW, black pill, incel culture, red pill, manosphere, high value, low value man, and then on the other side, sort of boss bitch leaning culture, r/female dating strategy, all of like that, trad wife, all of those movements, right, on both sides, maybe slightly less trad wife. What's happening is these are copes from both sides of the aisle on, we are struggling in the mating market, we need to find a solution for it. The solution is band together over the shared hatred of an outgroup, usually point the finger at the other sex. So yeah, actually, it's certainly the toxic elements of it would be eased an awful lot if young guys were having real world interactions with women, because they would realize that it's not the group of girls that the internet tells you are out there waiting for you to hijack all of your earnings and run off with your brother and your left leg. Then they're very, very difficult to find. The problem is that because not many guys have got real world experience to disprove that, how are they going to actually have any advice other than what they've read on the internet? So yeah, I think that might be right. Fit Barber YYC, what's it like living?
But I just don't get what it is about society where that's just okay, where we just continue as normal. I think it's like capitalism is just kind of consuming everything, where no one's stopping to talk about young boys, young men, and their issues. It's just, with the boomer agenda and in the boomer dominated world still, it's just really not important. And I personally feel like I grew up more in like a matriarchal like household. Like my dad was just kind of like the kind of like a beta buck. And it just was rough, so just like mom just won every argument just by default, and just because she had like a nick higher income, like she was like, oh, I'm the breadwinner of the house, and but they were it was a dual income family. It was like literally basically they brought in the same income, so it was like, yeah, but she got to yell at everyone because she had the most money. Meanwhile, my dad was actually literally the most chill dude. So I think if he had like the power, it would have been honestly a better household. But that's the thing actually is there's a lot of like niche and he talks about ancient Greece and how they were more patriarchal and how it's kind of like better for the society at large when it was just essentially like what am I trying to say? The kids just get stressed out for like the wrong things when like the matriarchs run the house, whereas when the patriarchs were like running the house, they kind of just let them chill with like a little bit of time. But then in that other time, they're teaching like that kid like harsh realities, but like practical lessons and stuff like that. So, but let's just focus on like the matriarchal side is just the kind of like the doing them up, right? And they're stressed out about like the wrong things, and the next thing I guess like for the Greeks, like the Persians attack and they're not ready or whatever. Or like for the Romans, it's like the Huns attack, because they're kind of and the later part of the Roman society was a lot more like matriarchal and delved into a lot of the deeper, like beyond third wave extreme waves of feminism, of feminism, and yeah, it's just, it's wild when you explore history and just see how much of that is like repeating today. I would really encourage anyone to do that. But yeah, just seeing how people used to treat me back when versus now, and like one of the only things I changed about myself was looks. Like, yeah, I have a good job, like a decent paying job now, and there's a couple other good things I'm like really proud of and stuff, but it's like, really it was just looks, and everyone was like, oh my God, wow. And the other thing that really pisses me off too is sometimes like I have these interactions with women like Stacy Light, and I'm sorry I'm like parsing my speech so much, but I'm gonna be doing that on this channel, of course, because of YouTube overlord reasons, and some fives, six, stuff like that. Like I have these interactions with them just when I'm out like at bars and stuff, and they just kind of like, they do those like subtle, it's so stupid. Like it's just like a little like look at you and smile, and it's like literally just like, okay, now the ball is entirely on your court because I looked at you. And I go over like, but it's just like in my head I'm just like, it's so stupid, like, because it's just these people I'm talking to, they're so vapid, like. And so I get, even when I get like numbers, like it's like literally from a woman looking at me, and I'll like get a number, right? And it's like she just like probably won't even like text back. But the other thing that just turns me off so much to it all is just like, she just has like no personality. Like when you're talking to her in that like conversation, like you're literally, and it's stupid too. But yeah, it's just really dumb. But yeah, because you're doing all these things, right? Like you're giving her all these like jumping points in conversation. You're saying like, oh, like that's so interesting, like about like the one little anecdote she gives you. Like that's so interesting about that. Did you know that this, and then this about that other thing that you mentioned? And then she can literally like talk about like any of those four things you just mentioned to like keep the conversation going. And then she just goes like, yeah, oh yeah, cool. And it just kind of like keeps looking at you like, okay, like how are you going to entertain me next? It's just so strange. But like honestly, like in person, I don't really have that issue because I was always like just talking to people going to camps and stuff, and like honestly, I got rejected like all of college. Obviously, like I told you guys I didn't really have an ascension moment until 22. So like just getting rejected all of college. But like the good thing I guess about like going out and getting rejected is like you at least know how to talk to people. I think like the weirdest thing is like having to like how many interactions are like over text now, and it's just like these women are just so bad. Like that's the other thing too. The society won't call out women as like, okay, like you don't know how to talk to people. It's not only like there's kind of clueless dudes out here. I'll admit I'm partially like Zoomer brain, whatever, like foggy brain, Zoomer brain, whatever you want to call it, right? But TikTok brain, whatever you want to call it. Like I don't use TikTok obviously, but YouTube Shorts is the same. American big tech, Chinese big tech, But it's just wild, man, because I just want to understand, like, it's just so weird because I got it back. I lost my thought. I got it back. I was just talking about how, I had all these the one good thing about like that 4-year process, like going through like all of like college, getting rejected and stuff. And I had like other issues. I didn't have so many issues with like rejection in high school, but it's more just like like respectfully, the amount of hot Cheeto girl energy at my school, it was a lot. So I personally chose a decision of just redshirt dating to college. And when I got to college, it was just so hard, bro. I had like culture shock from like literally just going to school with majority white people, and then just culture shock from that, from what I was going to school with, which is like fine. Like I don't like, I was really happy with the upbringing I had, because I'm not so homogenized as like a white person or whatever, which is amazing. And you know, I know like another language, I'm bilingual, and like that's amazing, right? So it's really messed up, because there's a student named Charlie Chiang. I think you guys should really check out this video. It's called "What Are We Doing to White People?" Definitely check that out. But unfortunately, like for your own safety, just like do something to kind of like separate yourself from the white community. Whether that's like you go play basketball with like a bunch of people who are not white, or you just speak another language that, you know, is not in like a traditionally like white populated country. Just do something like that. Because like the way society is going, it's just weird. Like and what they did to that person who writes that comic and stuff, it's just weird. Yeah, it's just weird, man. But yeah, no, like trying to text women over like dating apps is crazy, man. Because, you know, going from what I used to be to what I am now, I had no women to text basically in high school. There was like one girl in my theater class, like she was like a 7, like really into me. I was looking kind of good. Like I had like really long like Justin Bieber hair at the time. Like I was like, you know, kind of tall, skinny, like soccer player dude. Like she used to like compliment me on my caps a lot. Like, and it was like amazing, right? It's just so amazing, right? Like junior year, wow, like I think I'm finally gonna get a GF, stuff like that. Dude, she just randomly like announces in like theater class one day, it's like, yeah, I'm moving like schools or whatever. Bro, like, oh dude, and there was this one time this girl was like super into me. No, she wasn't into me, but just like, she was just giving me like those stupid like Sydney Sweeney eyes. Like I don't know how to describe it. Like, and then this is like sophomore year of college, and it's just like we're driving back from like a school trip. It was sick, right? It was like we all had like fun on this trip. It was sick. We just went to this like sick part of the country, had a good amount of free time, did like some for real like good stuff for the community over there and stuff. And like I was just like, hey, you know, I live in like, you know, this city. Do you live in that city? She's like, yeah. It's like, okay, cool, yeah. So, we both live like in the same like hometown or whatever. So I don't mind like driving you back. Like, you don't like have a car here or whatever. She's like, oh yeah, that's cool. I like saves my mom the drive, dude. We get back, bro. It was fucking stupid like winter storm, and my car like battery died, bro. And it was so embarrassing. She had to like call her mom to like pick her up and stuff. Like drive like almost 100 miles there and back, bro. Like it was so messed up, bro. Like, and it was just like that was the time, right, for car trouble. Like I couldn't have a car trouble like at any other point in my life, right? And it was just, cause like I had nothing, bro. Like, and that's the thing, right? Is it's just like missing out on the human experience, right? Like, because I consider myself more. I'm like, I have like more like volcel issues now, right? Just kind of like not being able to like get with what I want, right? Which I feel like a lot of dudes have that issue. But anyway, I'm not gonna go into that so much. But like back then, it was like you not even having like any initial experience or any like you have no like lived human experience of intimacy, man. And it's just like once you have it, it's like you understand. Like there's two sides of the coin, right? one side is it's literally like it's so fleeting, like sex, intimacy, like all that. It's so fleeting, and it's literally like so overhyped and it's so stupid that our animal brain like seeks it out so much. The other side of the coin is it's like so worth everything, and it's like one of the few things that truly does make life worthwhile. And that's what I hate about it, because it's like I don't know, like I don't know if I was like better off before or after cashing in my V card, you know. So, but I honestly think I was better like after, like, because the thing was, like, it was really nice. Like, I did it with, like, someone I knew really well who I thought was, like, really attractive and stuff like that. So, like, not a ton of regrets with it. A little bit of fallout, but, like, not a ton of regrets. And we had a good little relationship that lasted, like, a good amount of time. Like, you know, hundreds and hundreds of days, let's say that, right? So, like, but the thing is, man, it's just like, you know, and it just like ends so abruptly, and then it's like back to like the old you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just kind of like all of a sudden like life's worth living, and then all of a sudden like it's not. I don't even know how to describe it, man. It's just and just the but yeah, just like that feeling of just never knowing like. I hate to use this metaphor, but it's like never knowing where your next meal is going to come from. But instead of meal, I'm talking about like your sexual needs and your need for intimacy. And that feeling, like I feel like for a guy, that is so much scarier. Like if things just fall out suddenly, like that's so much scarier. And then the other thing is like women do the majority of the breaking up, like according to like all the stats we have nowadays. And it's not only breaking up, it's also divorce. And I feel like that's just like, if you just need any kind of proof of hypergamy, I mean, it's like it's right there. So it's just weird, man. And this all gets like brushed under the rug because there is that like agenda of like protecting the women's reputation. And I don't know if you guys have watched AlexanderGrace. He'd probably be like the best one to maybe like check everything I'm saying on this, but just that idea of like we can't like suggest the idea that like certain women like could be capable of such evils or whatever, or could be so like like surface level, because like all women care about are like personalities and like what the guy can like bring to her life and how he can be funny and make her laugh. Yeah, and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just really dumb. So, but yeah, like this is such a long-winded rant. I'm just getting everything out though. It's amazing. And yeah, if anyone has any like questions about like what I'm saying, just like comment, because you know, even though I don't consider myself like part of the inkwells anymore, it's just going like all of college without that human intimacy experience where like everyone around you is just like continually just like having abundance and it just makes no sense. Like the other thing too, I think like no one talks about is like the pill of like social hermit parents pill. Like, I don't know how to describe this, right? But I think dbdr like has the same issue that I'm about to describe. So no one ever talks about like, what if, so you could have like, good like provider cell parents or whatever, right? So like, dad maybe has a good living, even maybe your mom made some money or whatever. So it's like, okay, you're allowed to go to college if you want, basically out of high school. Like, you have like those freedoms, like those basic like provisions. Maybe you get a car in high school, stuff like that. Like you have those like basic privileges. That's pretty nice. Like, let's be honest, right? So global perspective, your kid, like, has like a house, like, family owns a house. That's probably like a $300,000-$400,000 house. Like, that's pretty cool, right? And then, you get to go to college if you want. If you actually do the work, go to STEM in college, come out of that making a degree that's like $60K USD a year. I mean, the USD is a really powerful currency in the world exchanges. So, I believe one USD is about like 5,000 Colombian peso. So just put that in perspective, man. I like $20 literally in Colombia could buy you like the whole day at like with like, drink fill-ups at a beachside resort in Colombia and like stuff like that. So yeah, okay, so that's a pretty good situation, right? So you have all that stuff going for you. But the thing no one talks about, right, is the social like hermit parent pill. And this is just like, dude, if your parents like focus so hard on like getting all this other stuff and just like, oh, rushing out to have kids, that's the other thing too, is like the pill of like late parents or whatever. Like, if your parents had you at like the mid 30s, late 30s or whatever, and then so it's like you're born, your parents have like no one to introduce you to. Like, really hard for you to like just find mentors and stuff. They just throw you into like these extracurriculars where you're gonna be kind of like an outcast as is anyway. And then there's like that other pill I was saying about like the late parents. Like, we all had that research about like just the further and further your parents push off like child rearing, it just worsens your outcomes with certain things. And like one of those things is like the possible development of being on the autism spectrum or just social intelligence, So yeah, dbdr, man. I mean, I feel for you, brother, and definitely. I mean, you already know how to like self-improve and everything. So you stay with it. Like, it's literally because there's no any other cope, man. And I'm saying this to you as someone who's like lived it. Like, you just have to do like the gym and all that other stuff literally because there is like no other cope. And yeah, obviously, like, yeah, but it's just keep at it, brother, for sure. All right, man. I'm gonna end it here. Really appreciate y'all chiming in. Just comment any thoughts y'all had. I can't thank dbdr so much. Like, I can't begin to thank him so much for the stories he's told. And, I listen to him while I'm at work and stuff like that. And just kind of like, I'm like, man, I really relate to what this guy's saying. And just, I really hope that his voice, like the voice and experiences of someone like him, just kind of gets heard. Like, and what I like what I want to say about dbdr is like, he's not a violent person. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just like, these are just like normal everyday people. So I don't know, man. It's just weird. Society is just not compassionate to men. So there's just this concept I'd really suggest y'all read into called like male disposability. We're obviously like seeing that with like the war in Ukraine with like conscription of in Ukraine. So the Ukraine men that like aged like 18 to like 60 or something like that are locked in the country. Meanwhile, all the refugee transport and all that is reserved for women and children. So yeah, definitely look into the idea of male disposability. It's pretty interesting. And just some final thoughts I wanted to touch on. I didn't feel like in my earlier rant, this is a later recording. I feel like my earlier rant, I didn't really touch on what I wanted to say about like the online dating, texting girls kind of thing. Especially as a guy who like kind of hit his like looks max near his general genetic potential kind of like later in life. Because some guys get it at like 16, some guys get it like 18, when you're going to college, and that early game, I mean, that's like the most optimal time to get it. And some guys just don't have like the looks maximizing information earlier in life. Just doesn't come their way, And really, I think it took like 3 years, really. So, I started at like 19, really just like working out and starting to think about stuff like that from kind of like a RP kind of lens. But yeah, just like as a guy who recently got good looking, it's just really weird interacting with women. I say especially over like text, because I feel like they just like expect you to know what they say. Obviously they're like matching with you. They have to be like relatively interested in you and stuff. And it's like, you don't know how to talk to them really outside of like being a person or like the in-person game you've done with girls. So it just doesn't like work the same. I feel like some guys just like kind of know what to say. They have a bit more of a mouthpiece over like text and stuff. And like, it's crazy. Like I've seen some kind of like more normie looking guys like pull low key like Stacy Light type people just from, so-called like Riz over text or whatever. And at least pull them enough to like date, get some smash or whatever. It's like, damn, it's like, it's still pretty much better than what I can do. So it's kind of depressing. Like when you don't have the mouthpiece or the game, I guess, to like match what you look like. And I think girls look at you like especially weird. And online dating, it's just weird. I mean, let's get this out of the way. Like there's a ton of like social media type algorithms that are in online dating, like ELO scores, all that. They like to show you like higher attractive profiles first to kind of like keep you engaged in the app and stuff. And, things like Hinge where they say like, oh, like it's designed to be deleted. That's not true at all. Like it's legit a for-profit based app, so, it has like shareholders and stuff. So it's just, that's low-key not at all true. There's no, in the user being deleted, like that doesn't contribute to earnings reports to like added users and stuff. I continually see girls in their bios like, oh, I hate it here, someone get me off this app and stuff. But you have to like satisfy her hypergamy like crazy to be able to do that. And I mean, like Hinge and all these other like Match.com apps, they just contribute to hypergamy. But, hypergamy is not so much the issue. It's just really, how do we like pair these guys off, get all these lonely guys out here just, in so many other societies, it's like you legalize sex work and that kind of like opens the floodgates to like receive a lot of that pin up extra male energy and stuff. And I think Camille Paglia talks about this a little bit, and how it's just this weird like intersection of like too much liberalism and too much conservatism. It just doesn't work, and I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I guess you just go to Nevada, right? I mean, this is also for dbdr, man. Like, if it's pissing you off so much that you just are at this point in life and you don't have like sexual experience or whatever, just like, dude, take a trip to Nevada, man. Because, you're going to have to pocket at least like a G. Like, I'll tell you up front, just like at least a G. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be that much, but just like to be safe. And even then, it might not be what you're looking for. I mean, if you want something like overnight, it's, it's going to be like a lot more money, bro. So, but yeah, just like, that's a legal option for you, bro. So just, I want you to be aware of that. I don't know where you're from, obviously, and I think it's good. It's good that way. But yeah, Nevada, like that's for real a good option for you. If just like that's, and I know it's like genuine desire. Like that's one crazy thing, right? Is just like a lot of these dudes, like if you're a nerdy, geeky, kind of like crypto millionaire type dude or whatever. First of all, you're not gonna really get money until like crypto pops off again. So I mean, who knows when that's gonna be, right? So the other thing too is it's like, how many of these girls that maybe you're attracting all of a sudden because you're just like geeky guy, but you got money, all of a sudden you money maximize, And then all of a sudden it's like, it's like they don't have genuine desire for you. Like they aren't actually getting like wet for you or anything. If anything, they're getting wet for like the payday they're about to get when they're like done with you or whatever. So it's just like, I'd really be cognizant of that, man. Like my one like sexual relationship I had, like that was like the nice thing about it, I would say, is just knowing that it was like, I wasn't like really buying her anything or doing anything for her. Just like, she just wanted to spend time with me and shit like that. So, it is different. I get it though, but I think the thing, like there was an element of my inkwell type life where it was like, before 22, it was like, man, I just, like me not knowing how to smash, like me not knowing like those animalistic kind of like fundamentals. And me like going into like every human interaction knowing it's like, okay, I have like no experience of these, like this like human experience, you know what I'm saying? Like that was holding me back a bit. And once I got those real like good smashes out for the first time, definitely like a lot of my confidence went up. But I don't know how different that would be, being in a relationship that wasn't based so much on genuine desire, more based on like a sex work, I guess. But yeah, so I guess the last thing I really wanted to talk about was so base Pluto, right? Morpheus, right? Champagne retribution. I love it. I kind of have been living for champagne retribution, but I don't think, like, it's hard for me to explain, right? Like, I guess one example, well, just kind of like, I don't know. It's like if I go to my high school reunion, my class is like 3,000 kids. Like I've been called like scrawnies, it's on face, all that stuff. Like it's, who knows, got beat out like in my soccer team spots like literally all the time and stuff. And like, yeah, I played like JV like all the way till senior year, and I basically got cut senior year and then just added to the team allegedly because quote unquote the coach liked me and stuff like that. So it's like, but then it's just, yeah, man, like when you've gone through those experiences, it's just knowing now, like if I went back to like my high school reunion or whatever, I'd probably be like one of the like tallest, like most like strongest, like well-groomed looking guys in there and stuff, and probably be one of like the best smelling dudes, like no homo, stuff like that. So it's just weird. Like, so, and yeah, but you have all those lived experiences of like the person before, right? And when you're starting to get like that kind of glimpse into life of like, oh, I'm starting to like do better than these fools who are, treating me like dirt, like earlier in life, they treat me like dirt, they treat me real bad. Like starting to get ahead, bro, and then you're starting to get ahead. It's easy, I'd say, to get caught up in those feelings of champagne retribution. I say those are good feelings, right? Because anything that motivates you and drives you on your purpose, that's good. I don't think men should ever be ashamed of what motivates them, whether that's like a pretty woman or just doing it for money or to get back at people or, whatever. I mean, Michael Jordan let that stuff fuel him, right? So, but my thing is, I don't think, I am obviously going for champagne retribution. Do have plans of living a beautiful life abroad, kind of getting away from the United States and just stuff like that. But yeah, like so champagne retribution. I just don't think, me personally, I'm not doing it for like malicious get back at people reasons. But that's a personal choice. I personally don't find virtue in that, and the reason why is, I feel like all the grind and the grit I'm doing now, and even with me kind of starting to like break ahead in some avenues right now, I feel like I'm doing that first and foremost out of love of myself, and when I think about like the success and as well as the future success I'm looking for, I look back at like who I was, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm doing this for like the love of you almost more than anything else. The love of who I am now and who I was then. I'm not even worried about them. I'm doing this for the love of who I am now and who I was then. My love, it like straight compassion, bro. So maybe just something to think about. I don't know if that helps, but yeah, dbdr and base Pluto Morpheus. Like, I appreciate y'all so much. Inspired me to get my voice out there and just kind of, because I'm right there. I'm in the trenches with all y'all still, to be honest. I feel like I've gone through the worst parts of it. Unfortunately, like, I hate to say this, but I've gone through like the predominant part of men's lives, where they tend to off themselves, and luckily, we know not to do that. We know not to do that. We know the beauty of life and champagne retribution. And we're here in the fight. We're here in the trenches. So, but yeah, definitely like getting through that phase of life. It's hard. It's hard. That initial, so young men, I feel for y'all out here, man. And I hope this channel just helps men and inkwells or whomever. Because society is really giving y'all a short end of the stick. And like boomers and, boomers who still currently hold the power, the capital, the money, etc. They're just boomed out. They're in their whole universe. They're not willing to really lend that true ear and true action that it takes to start solving these issues. So just sometimes timing and life and stuff, it just kind of hits you a certain way and whatnot. But I think one of the beauties of like men masculinity, some like Greek philosophy and stuff, is like obviously there's channeling like the energy of thumos and stuff like that, and stoicism, like Marcus Aurelius. And I know he's not like so much from like the ancient Greeks, but yeah, there's a lot of those ancient male, men, masculine philosophies I definitely recommend.